Hi, moms and dads. Parental Alienation Survival Coach is a division of Speak Worldwide. Speak stands for Stop Parental Emotional Abuse of Kids. And we all know that is what parental alienation is. It's psychological abuse of children by a parent. Parental alienation is really a slang term. It never really made it into the DSM, the Psychological Manual of Diagnostics, so it won't ever be a diagnosis. But the signs that a child has been psychologically abused are evident in the symptoms displayed in the child. And there are three major diagnostic indicators that the child has been psychologically abused. And the second diagnostic indicator is what we're going to talk about today. So that second one is that you will start to see personality disorder traits in the child. Why? Because they're being psychologically abused by a person who has psychological disorders. A normal person wouldn't do that to a child. We know this, right? It's not normal for a child to reject their parent, and it's not normal for a parent to want their child to reject another parent, an entire side of the family. So we know that that parent isn't normal. They usually have a combination of disorders, usually involves narcissistic and borderline. Sometimes I lump those two together and call them the border cystic personality disorder. That's not a psychological term either, but it's my little made-up term for two very serious psychological disorders. And it's not important that we diagnose the other parent. It's just important that we know there are personality disorders, and sadly they are sometimes transmitted to the children. And when you start to see them, that's what we call the second diagnostic indicator. We see some personality disorder traits. I have some notes here from Dr. Childress, and I've tried to make them a little more understandable for the average person. So I'll list the five and then we'll talk about them. We will see in the child splitting behavior, absence of empathy. You might recall I did a video called Zero Empathy. Grandiosity, entitlement, and haughty and arrogant attitude. Haughty and arrogant attitude goes together as one of these. So I've put them in a little bit of a different order than we normally see Dr. Childress do. And I talk about splitting first. The child has an extremely polarized perception of their parents. One all-wonderful parent, and that's the one that's psychologically controlling them. They usually see no fault in that parent. And then there's the targeted parent, which is probably you if you're watching this video. And you are the person who, in the child's mind, is entirely bad and worthless. Well, the reason this happens, this splitting behavior, everyone is put into two categories. If they agree with the alienating parent, they're okay. Otherwise, you're in the worthless category. So the parent behaves this way, and of course, since you and the other parent are now no longer in a relationship or divorced, so you're obviously not in the okay category anymore. You're in the totally worthless category, and that is what they're teaching the children. So the children have, when you start to see that really polarized impression of the parents, you or the therapist, the mental health professional, should start to see that as a red flag. It's the second diagnostic indicator when we see these five specific personality disorder traits. Okay, so when they split the parents into two polar opposites, that's one sign of a personality disorder trait. The other one is absence of empathy, which we talked about. The child displays a complete absence of empathy or any compassion toward the targeted parent. You might not see this until you hurt yourself and they laugh, or they wish that you'll hurt yourself, or they are glad when you maybe lose your job or get fired, or, you know, anything like that. You'll start to see this lack of empathy towards you from the child. These are not normal. Both of those things, splitting and lack of empathy, are not normal. This is the child that you had a loving, caring, normal, healthy relationship with. And they deserve to love and be loved by you. And you start to see these things in them. The other three, it's not real easy to understand the difference because they seem to overlap quite a bit. So I'm going to talk about them together. Grandiosity, entitlement, and the haughty and arrogant attitude. So the grandiosity is the child sees themselves in a higher position, a grandiose position of judgment against you as a parent. They may even say things like, that parent, you, meaning you, deserves to be punished, or deserves, I heard one say, deserves to be raped in court by the judge and my other parent. So again, not normal for a child to say something like that about a parent. So the grandiosity, the entitlement, and the haughty and arrogant attitude. The entitlement, they feel that they deserve for every whim, every one of their whims should be met by you, and if not, they feel entitled to exact revenge on you. If you don't meet every whim that they feel they're entitled to, then they're going to exact revenge on you. And it might even be the other parent playing that money card that I've talked about. The other parent might be saying, you know, dad's a deadbeat, he doesn't pay child support, or mom is spending all the child support on herself. There's that money card, and the other parent is teaching the kids that they should be entitled to something that the other parent is misusing and spending on themselves, or not contributing to the child support. They'll say anything to play on this feeling of entitlement and get the child to feel that you've withheld what they're entitled to. And then we have the haughty and arrogant attitude. And as you see, this grandiosity, entitlement, and haughty and arrogant attitude, they all kind of overflow and kind of flow into each other. And the child displays this arrogant attitude of contempt and disdain for the targeted parent, which if you're listening to this video, it's probably you. And it was me too. So again, these are the 5 specific personality traits that the professional therapist will see as diagnostic indicator 2. They will see personality disorder traits in the child. So splitting, absence of empathy, grandiosity, entitlement, haughty and arrogant attitude. And this is all coming from a child you once had a very healthy, normal, loving relationship with. So I hope that helps you understand a little bit, and we hope to help all the mental health professionals understand a little bit better too. So I will go over the other diagnostic indicators, number 1 and 3, in a separate video, but this one was all about the diagnostic indicator 2. And when we have indicators 1, 2, and 3 present, that should lead the mental health professional to a diagnosis of psychological abuse and a treatment plan, which includes protective separation for a short period from the other parent until they get the help they need to stop mentally and emotionally and psychologically abusing the child. So I hope that helps a little bit and helps you understand, because education is really important when we're going through this. So I hope you've gotten some education from this video. Stay strong, moms and dads. Hang in there and be as strong as you can. You're not alone.